Good morning, PTD. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend a little bit of your morning with me. I was asked by our lovely Kimberly Palmer to put together an injury prevention video, and I'm excited to be able to bring that to you. I'm so sorry that it's not in person because this video stuff is really boring, but stay with me. We're going to learn some good information. I want to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Miriam Graham. I'm of Restore Motion, and we're part of Dancer Health at the Washington School of Ballet, along with my colleague Patrick Winning PT and Stephanie Bloom PT. You might have seen us in the training room. I just want to take a moment to thank the faculty and thing. Patrick, PTD and the summer program, there have been a rash of ankle sprains.
Correct, I've seen several of them.
What's going on there?
What's going on? So we wanted to talk to you all about preparing your body and figuring out what's going on, understanding why certain injuries would be happening. And one of them is always fatigue. You all are doing more work than you're used to doing. So you've got to make sure that you're rested and you're doing all that. But why precisely the ankle sprain? Why precisely, like a lot of times it's the left ankle. We see that a lot in ballet.
Absolutely. And so again, just to go off of that, you all know a great deal. And folks are thinking about ankles specifically.
Correct.
And what we're finding in those ankle sprains is a lot of hip weakness on the same side, and
a lot of core weakness on the same side. So if you think of your body as a whole, and when you dance, you're thinking about your body as a whole, why would that ankle be spraining? Why would you be doing that? Well, if you don't have that control right in through here, your ankle has to work harder. So those of you I've worked with or that we've worked with, and we get down in the ankle and everything's tight and everything's locked up, you've been working so hard with that. What you need to distribute the way you put the energy into the movement or the landing or the jump, whatever it is, all the way through the chain. And we see a lot of times it's that lack of control or that lack of strength and stamina from the hip joint, whether it is weakness or tightness or something like that, or is it sort of that core control that goes in there with pelvis and hip and all of that. And then your ankles, because they're out there in the world, they're the ones that get the damage.
Yeah. You know, I feel like we can give so much information about different ways to address ankle sprain along the path here. What Patrick's talked about, core through the entire body, not just the ankle. Sometimes there is, an environmental issue. You slip or your shoe's not doing the right thing. So barring that, we're going to go through several activities to try to help with ankle sprains, with the idea that sometimes it isn't your ankle. So all those TheraBand exercises, right? Sometimes they're helpful, but you have a couple that we'll go over.
But sometimes they're not, right? So I like, with the ankle, with the TheraBand, I like getting in there and pushing against the floor, because that's really what you do when you dance, right? You push against the floor. So we'll do some of those things.
Good. Okay. Ankle sprains are complicated. Is it from the ankle? Is it from the core? Is it from the hip? Is it the knee? Many factors, but having a strong hip on the same leg as the ankle you're concerned about is really important. A lot of times we're finding in the training room that people have sprained their left ankle and they have a weak left hip abductor. So I want you to practice the idea. You can look in the mirror. When you come down on one leg, that your knee is over your toe, and that you can do that you own that, the knee over the toe, versus what we see a lot of is this, or some variation there. You really want to rehearse having a strong torso, strong hip, keeping the knee over the toe. I wiggled a little bit, but I was just making sure you were watching. So that's what you want to do, okay? That's a good hip strengthening exercise. You can have a water bottle in front of you where you're trying to reach with the opposite arm to get that water bottle on the floor. And again, taking your body weight through space, trying to keep that knee straight, is another way to challenge it.
So with this exercise, we're going to work on the strength of the arch and the intrinsic muscles of the foot, the lumbricals between the long bones of the toes, to work on the strength for pointing the toes and supporting the foot in general. So what you're going to do is you want to think of that medial arch, that arch that's on the inside, and you're going to lift it up as if you're making room for a little pea to sort of roll in there, and then you're going to bring it back down. So you're pressing down with all of your toes all at the same time, but not curling them so you don't want to do that. You don't want to curl in that way. You want to press down through the foot and you lift that arch through the whole foot. And now we're going to look at it from up top, from the way you would see it. So here, when you're watching it, you're going to notice that your toes don't flex. That metatarsal arch right in through there, the big knuckles of the foot are doming up and lifting. Your toes are not doing it. Right into there, pressing. No curl, that's a gymnast. Draw up. There we go. So this is an exercise for strengthening the inside of your ankles, the ankle that you would sickle with, and this is going to help the stability side to side as you go up into releve. This is also a little bit of an addition from the big toe press. You can also add the big toe press from that other exercise into this, so you're doing a lot of different things. So you're going to need a small ball. You can also use anything that's sort of round or cylindrical that's not going to crush too easily, or you can roll up a towel and that can work. So the ball is going to go in between my ankles, right there. So I'm not going to try and crush the ball. I'm just gently pressing in on the ball as I releve. Come back down. Press in through the ball as I releve. Come back down. Release the ball a little bit. Remember to think of core, right? Your center. Press up. Pressing in through the ball. You can add big toe press, down, release. And you're going to coordinate all these muscles to fire in so that you stay nice and stable side to side as you go up into releve. I would do 3 sets of 8 is a good way to start.
Hello, so now we're going to go over how to roll out your flexor hallucis longus muscle. This is a common site of injury and irritation for ballet dancers. The flexor hallucis longus is a muscle that goes from the fibula, which is the outside of your lower leg, down through the ankle and then crosses and comes to be on the big toe, and it helps with pointing. So you use it a lot when you're pointing. Now I have a foot here to show you how it goes. It comes along, it goes through this little groove, comes through the arch of the foot down to the big toe, all right? So there are other plantar flexors that point the foot, but this one gets implicated in a lot of dance injury because you rely on it so much. So it's about muscle balance, and we'll look at that. So even though the tendon comes through the arch of the foot, the actual meat of the muscle is back here at about the bottom third of your outer leg. So we're gonna take a lacrosse ball to start with, and I like using a yoga block because that gives me a little bit more mechanical advantage. And I'm gonna put my leg on the yoga block, and then I can just use my body weight to roll through here. I can roll up and down like I'm doing, or I can find an area of tightness and kind of do a little circle in there. You're going to feel it because it'll be exquisitely tight. And you're not allowed to hurt yourself. We have a term, therapeutic irritation. That's okay. Pain is not okay. But you just want to roll in through there. And about 2 minutes is plenty. If you feel like it's a little bit, this is a larger surface and you feel like you need a little bit more point work, a golf ball is a great alternative. It's going to be harder, but it's very point specific. And depending on how much weight you're able to generate on that calf, you can get some pretty good release on that flexor hallucis longus tendon and muscle. So the last thing I'm going to have you do, you can take the racquetball or the lacrosse ball and go ahead and roll the bottom of the foot. Again, thinking of this big toe side of the foot, so I'm kind of winging out a little bit to get that part of the tendon. It's no longer red meat muscle, now it's tendon coming through, but that can be an area of tightness. And we'll go over a little bit more in another segment on the arch of the foot, but this, we're still trying to get that big toe muscle, the flexor hallucis longus. All right, this is a good tool kit for you in your dance bag, and we'll get to the next one. So my colleague, Carrie, told me that it looked like I was just rolling my calf, and I want to make it clear that we're rolling the outside of the calf. You're going to find all kinds of places in there that need attention, but you want to be on the outside of the calf. You see that? The inside of the calf is going to get different muscle. So if you look at the calf, here's the outside of the calf, here's the inside of the calf, this medial gastroc head right here. This is going to be a great place to release the other plantar flexors. And so here, I'm turning my leg in and I'm rolling the inside of the calf. And that's also going to be very helpful too, but it's just a different muscle. If you start, I'm going to teach you an activity called a hip sync, and this is just a test to see if you're neurologically ready or if you're a little bit off, and then we'll give you other things to do to try to get things to be a little bit more symmetric. Part of self-care is knowing where you are, so you have to have a test to know where you are. So this is a hip sync. We're going to look for symmetry, okay? So standing with feet together, I'm going to have you monitor these little dimples back here with your fingers. And if you can see, my feet are actually touching. Okay, so fingers right here. I'm going to keep my left knee straight and I'm going to bend my right knee. And it's as if I'm between two plates of glass. So I'm not sticking my butt out or rotating. I'm just going straight down. And I'm going to compare that movement, that ease and that movement, to doing the opposite. So I'm going to bend my left knee and keep my right knee straight. And so we'll just do that movement. This feels easy to me. That doesn't go quite as far. So once again, that feels easy and I believe I go further. And this doesn't go as far. So I feel a little bit of restriction here. When you're doing this activity, you could feel restriction where I pointed, that was the SI or sacroiliac joint. You could also feel it on the lateral hip, like it's just tight on the outside of the hip. So you could feel different things that are causing that restriction. And based on what you feel will dictate which self-care activity you're going to do. The pubis clear and the anterior ilial rotation, self-correction, are good starting points for this, and then we'll get into some rolling and self-care of the muscle. back to the concept of having a check to see if you're neurologically intact or if you need to do a little bit of work to get yourself in a better place to go into full physical performance. A little mini squat is a great way to kind of see where you are. So a mini squat, you're going to be in parallel, and you want to think butt back, butt down. So butt back, butt down, and seeing where you can go. I'm going to do this from the side. So butt back, butt down. You want to have it be so that you can do that with equal weight bearing and your toes are on the ground. Sometimes people lift their heels up. That's not necessarily a good thing. Or if you feel that you're shifting to one side, it could be that the ankle is tight. Another way to check that is if you just elevate your heels and then try to do the squat. You know that the limitation isn't in your hip per se or your low back, it might be in your ankles. So a couple things to do for ankle that way. I'm gonna have you think of being about 4 inches away from the wall, and your foot is gonna be in that 4-inch space. And being ballet dancers, that plie is really important. You wanna be able to bend the knee for the for the knee to touch the wall. And when I do that, I get a little bit of a stretch in my gastrocsoleus, the back of the thigh, or the back of the ankle. And then I'm going to measure that, again, that same 4-inch distance. Is this leg easier or harder to get there? And so then you can see if you have a place that you're unaware of tightness and you have an activity to do, maybe about 5 or 6 of these on each side, to try to work with getting that range so that you can come back and do the squat, keeping your knees aligned over the foot versus this business, okay? This is an activity to make sure that you're even on one of those days that you just feel a little bit off. So I'm going to teach you how to do this with someone to help you and also how to do it by yourself. So I'm going to have Patrick put his feet together, feet touching. And then from here, I'm going to have you push both legs out away from each other. Push out, and stop. Good. Then I'm going to open your legs just a little bit. I'm going to have you push out again. Push out, and stop. And now I'm going to have you squeeze both legs in. Squeeze in, squeeze. Sometimes you'll hear a pop with that. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's better if it pops and not as good if it doesn't pop. But what you're doing, you're using your inner thigh muscles here to reset the pubic bone. And so the reason why you push out twice is to get your glutes to fire, to kind of make these adductors go to sleep. It's called reciprocal inhibition. And then you go ahead and squeeze in with the adductors. And again, that gets the joint where the 2 adductors come together at the pubis to reset itself. Now, if you don't have someone to work with, you can do this with a yoga block and a belt. And Patrick, what's your joke about this?
This is the belt that every one of your dad has this worn out leather belt in. So go get that and put it in your dance bag.
Or you can use a yoga strap, maybe even a sweatshirt, not a TheraBand. You want something kind of firm. So I'm going to go ahead and put this around Patrick's thighs. And in this instance, he's going to keep his feet in the same place, okay? So he's going to put pressure, push out for about 5 counts and hold. Keep breathing. 4, 5, and release. And then I'm going to have him push out again. We're getting that reciprocal inhibition, and let go. And then magically he has this yoga block here that he can squeeze in on. So go ahead and squeeze, and release. Good. So that is a clear. It's a very benign activity to get your pelvis realigned if it's just a little bit off and you don't quite know what's going on. That's called a pubis clear.
So this is a self-correction, a little bit more advanced. to see if those times when you feel like your pelvis is off, that your hips are off, that something's just not aligned. Now this is going to be a lot of motion. You're always trying to move. You're not just squeezing with this one, but you're actually trying to move your leg, and we're trying to use your glute muscles, your gluteus maximus muscles, to pull on the two different sides of your pelvis and kind of wiggle them back into more symmetry. So we're going to start this. You're on your back, so I'm going to show you how a friend can help you, and then we're going to show you how you do it yourself. So one leg is going to go straight down, and that's going to lock this side of the pelvis and keep it nice and stable. On the other one, we're going to bring up to about 90 degrees, relaxed leg. And what you're going to do is you're going to move your knee forward into the hand. So press your knee forward, Miriam, and she's pressing, but I'm keeping her from moving. And you're going to feel your gluteus maximus really working. It's trying to move this bone, but because I'm not allowing it to happen, it's going to move the other bone. So you hold it for about a count of 8, just like every good dancer does. And then you relax, and then you're going to do it on the other side. So you're going to go back and forth, press 8, 7, 6. Make sure you've got some nice engagement in through your core so that your spine isn't arching. You don't want to push too hard so that you're not moving around on the table. And you're going to do that 3 times on each side. If you don't have somebody to help you, there's 2 different ways. You can hold on to your knee, interlock, keep your elbows straight but relaxed. You're not pulling in with your arms. You're just going to move your knee forward, and she's running into her hand instead of running into my hand. She still feels the glute. She's still going to hold for 8 counts. You're still using a lot of good core, not over gripped, so that your spine isn't moving. You do that 8 seconds. Reciprocal, both sides, right, left, right, left. If your hands don't feel really good, or if you feel like you're not strong enough to do that, you can also go up against the wall or go into a doorway. I'll be the doorway. So if I'm the doorway and she's in there, she's got her knee at 90 degrees, now she's going to drive her heel into the door, and again, you're going to feel that glute, right? And it's going to do that same reset. No pop's going to occur. You're not going to feel like you worked out a whole lot. Everything is a nice, gentle. You want to get that going, and that's just going to reset both your pelvis and make you feel like you're a little bit more synchronized.
To get a better idea of what's going on at the pelvis, we're just going to show you a little bit here. This is the pubic bone, that front, and there's actually a little disc here, a little cartilaginous area, and this comes together as a joint. So when we're doing these last movements or the previous movements of the self-correction for the ilia, this is the ilia, or the pubis clear, we're trying to affect this area. So Patrick, do you want to show where the glute attaches?
Right, so on the one that I showed, your leg is up right in through here, and your glute maximus starts here and then comes right around through here. So you're trying to push this way, and that glute's doing that, and because it's not moving, it's gonna work on this bone right in through here. So because this bone's not moving, that glute is gonna wiggle it back this way. And then you do one side, then you do the other side, and it kind of wiggles it back into a little bit more symmetry. So you can't overcorrect on this one. This is very, very safe. You're not gonna throw yourself out the other direction, okay?
And the one that I was showing with Patrick being the model, I was using the glute on the outside to push the legs apart. And when we push the leg apart here, you're using reciprocal inhibition to get the muscles on the inside, the inner thigh, to relax. Once those are relaxed, we go ahead and squeeze together, and that affects this joint right here, the pubic symphysis, and sometimes it pops back into place. Again, both of these are benign. You're not going to over-treat, and they'll either make a difference or you haven't hurt yourself.
You haven't hurt yourself, but keep breathing.
Keep breathing. And use your core.
And use your core. All that stuff.
For the hip flexor, I'm going to have you lie on your abdomen. Can you show us the dryer ball under you? There we go, there it is. Okay, it's right there tucked in the pelvis over or underneath the hip flexor, and you're gonna lift that bottom leg up 3 times, thinking of letting the body melt over the ball. Good. And really think of your muscles melting over the ball. And then now you're gonna go ahead, really let everything go in between. And now you're gonna lift your upper body all the way up, lift up. Really think of that releasing over the ball. And then come on back down. And you're gonna do that 3 times. I like how you're coming all the way down to the table in between. And now simultaneously, you're gonna lift your leg and your upper body at the same time. There you go, nice work. And come on back down. And you'll do that about 3 times. There's nothing magic about 3. And you don't have to start with the leg. You could start with the upper body. But the important thing is to really relax the muscle over the ball in between. There you go. All right, come on up. Let's see you stand and see how you feel. Do you feel more even now?
Yes, definitely. Oh
okay, great. Good, good. This is the prone inferior glute stretch, and you're going to be using the hip construction, the anatomy, to help stretch the posterior capsule of the joint. So you're getting joint capsule stretch as well as external rotator stretch and your glute. And that's really important for ballet because there's a lot of emphasis on external rotation with turnout. So what we want to do is help the hip come back under. You know, the hip can kind of move in the socket here, hopefully not that much for you, but you want to keep the hip underneath the roof of the acetabulum. The pelvis part of the hip joint is called the acetabulum, that's the roof, and then the socket here, this ball, is part of the femur, that's the ball of the ball and socket joint. So I'm just going to keep that here for reference. We're going to start by coming onto all fours, and then from this position, I'm bringing my right ankle in front of my left knee, and I'm turning my leg out, okay? Now, from here, I'll come down on my elbows, and it's not pigeon if you're familiar with yoga, where you're trying to get your butt to the floor. You actually want kind of a vertical femur here, upright, so that you get this stretch. And I'm going to come forward a little bit and come around and back. And from this point, I don't feel any pinch in the front, but I do feel a stretch right back here because my body weight is stretching over that vertical femur. So that's the prone inferior glute stretch from the side, and we're going to look at it from the top in just a moment. Tell me when we're on. So I'm taking my knee, I'm crossing my right ankle in front of my left knee, coming down onto my elbows, and I'm going to come forward over to the side and back to find the stretch here, no pain in the front of the hip. So we're going to go with foam rolling. Foam rolling is a really good way to do 2 things, to address the fascial glide in your muscular system. And the fascial glide is that area between the layers of muscle that needs to be slide and glide slippery. And when there's inflammation or dehydration, the layers between the muscles can become kind of sticky, or there's inflammatory cells there, and then they don't slide and glide, and you're going to get poor movement quality, maybe hesitation or pain. So foam rolling helps with that by shearing the muscles across each other, but then it also allows you to start to appreciate difference between right and left. Sometimes you're not aware that you're tighter on one side than the other until you actually address it. So foam roll is a good way to give yourself a little self-love. So a lot of people are familiar with doing foam rolling for their lateral hip, the iliotibial band, and that goes like this. You're lying on the side of your leg, so my target is that lateral hip area, and I'm sliding along to stretch out, or not really stretch, just foam roll, put pressure and movement through the iliotibial band. And so thinking about maybe 20 motions or so, that can be helpful for the iliotibial band. Moving from the iliotibial band, turning this so you can see, we're going to do the front of the leg or the quad. So I was just doing the iliotibial band sideways here. Now I'm turning my body so that I'm facing the floor. I'm just going to put one quad on the roller so then I have more of my body weight on the roller to get my quadricep in the front. There are 4 quads, so I'm kind of on the outside quad. If I turn so my body's straight down, I'm getting the intermediate quads, and I can kind of feel a little bit of like, you know, rolling over a lump in there, so I know there's definitely some tension. I can think of coming closer to the kneecap, but I'm not over the kneecap, so I'm kind of focusing on that lower part of my thigh, or I can come back here where I'm focusing on the top of the thigh below the hip. If I want to get the medial quad, I've got to turn a little bit this way. So I'm going to show you from this angle, and then I'm going to switch to the other leg, where I'm, again, one leg on the roller, but I'm trying to turn my leg out to get the medial quad. So working on that same leg, I could come, so I'm on the end of the roller, and now I can turn my target leg out, so I'm getting the medial quad and maybe part of the adductor. And you want to get the full length of the muscle. If you move, maybe thinking of the muscle in thirds, so maybe the top third, the middle third, and then the lower third, it's easier to get through one of the long muscles like this because it's hard to go the whole length, okay? Just to show that with the other side, I have it on an angle like that, and I've either gone from the outside of the quad to the middle of the quad here, or if I turn this way, I'm getting the inner part of the quad with a little bit of turnout. The next muscle we'll do is the adductor group, and these are the muscles that go from the inside of the thigh, from the pelvis to the knee. And turning your foam roller so that it's perpendicular to the line of the muscle. Again, the muscle's going this way. I'm in this position. I'm going to lie on my left leg and drape my right leg over the roller, and again, it's at a perpendicular angle to my muscle fibers. And again, we're going to go in thirds. So I'm going to start close to the pubic bone. So I'm really resting my pelvis on this, and I'm just kind of doing a little bit of motion in here. So really close as it comes into the groin. A little bit of motion there. It's also great for scapular stability. You're making sure you're keeping your shoulder down as you're moving. Then I can come out to the middle third, and I'm just resting my hand here because it has a place to go. Trying to get all those little spots within the adductor group. This is really used for turnout. I know that Xiomara talks about turning through the knee, to use that from the thigh through the inner thigh out to the knee to get some turnout. And then lastly, I'm working on the the distal third of that inner thigh. And it makes a difference if you're having your leg up or having your leg down. So if you find a point that's, say, interesting, like, okay, that really needs to be worked out, resting there, just letting the roller be still, and then moving your leg up and down, oh my gosh, it's a killer. But it's getting the fascia to move and glide so that you have better ground substance, better hydration, more fluidity between the muscle layers, which is what you really need at this level of performance. So we've done the iliotibial band, the quad, and now the adductor. I'm going to go over the glute, okay? Your glute, first way to do that would be to just sit and then lean sideways, so you're putting more pressure. In this case, this is my right side, so I'm putting pressure on the right cheek, and I'm rolling. I can roll all the way back or right in through here, wherever it's tight. If this is okay, and I want a little bit more of a challenge, and I would suggest this for all of you there, I'm taking my right ankle and crossing it over my left knee, and I'm leaning to the right. So when I lean to the right, I'm putting my hand here, when I lean to the right, I'm putting more pressure on the right glute, and in this position, I'm getting the external rotators of my right hip, yours too if you're doing it, to release here. So this can be pretty uncomfortable. Sometimes I see people leaning on the other side. This is not the way to do it. You're avoiding the pain. You have to come over here. And again, it's not pain, it's therapeutic irritation, so it's good for you. So that is a good way to get the glute. If you're a glutton for punishment or your hips are just really tight and you need a little bit more, having a ball, this is a firm ball. It is less dense than a lacrosse ball, but it's notable. So, but it's not hard like a baseball or a softball. I can roll on my glute like this, again, keeping the leg relaxed because it's more point specific. This is a little bit like a rolling pin, and this is more point specific. So rolling in the hip this way. This is the trochanter of the hip. It's the bone that sticks out. You don't need to roll over that because it's really pointy and it's just causing pain. There's not muscle here to roll out. You want to roll on the meat of the muscle up there in the cheek. So again, with my leg straight, I can come onto the side. So I'm going above that bone that sticks out, the trochanter, and up to where my the side of my waist is. It's on the bone, the pelvis. Like when you look in the mirror and you see if your hips are level, that's what you're looking at. It's called the ASIS, or the iliac crest. So I'm rolling in through there. And then, again, escalating it if you need to. Ball under your bum, and you can try crossing the ankle over the knee and stretching or moving here. And it's pretty intense, so especially if you're tight, it can be noticeable. With doing these, you want to think of maybe 2 minutes per muscle. So that's a significant amount of time at the end of the day. You should feel good afterwards. You might feel tired. You might feel like, oh, wow, but you should feel looser. It shouldn't be like, oh, that's painful, like a toothache, or you really dread this. It's notable and you feel it, but it's worth it because afterwards you just feel more comfortable in your own skin. Doing this either before class to prepare so the fascia is nice and flexible and ready to go for class is a good idea. But a lot of people prefer to do it in the evening after their day, maybe after showering, to just kind of wind down. So find what works for you. But physiologically, it is valuable to do it before class because it prepares your tissues to be ready to do the amazing things that you do in ballet. So that is a quick tutorial on foam rolling. I think a lot of you have been aware of that and use it. I just thought of another muscle, so I'm going to show it to you. The front of your shin sometimes gets tight. And you can be on the roller where I'm kind of on my knee here and roll that. So sometimes people who have lateral shin splints, this might be helpful. Get your heels down when you're doing petit allegro. But if this is my shin, I'm trying to roll this muscle, the tibialis anterior, which is right in this zone. And so I'm coming on my shin bone. I'm going just lateral to the point of the bone, and I'm rolling, again, that idea of thirds, like the top third, the middle third, and then the bottom third. That can be helpful. So the thigh muscles, and then we just did that lower leg. So that's it. Wow, that was a lot.
That was a lot, and it seems like we're doing more and more and piling more and more on. We're not trying to do that. We want to give you different ideas, ways for you to think about your body, to test your body, and see what you need to work on, right? Because that's your responsibility.
And everybody's different. You know, you might find that one of the tests we did or one of the exercises we did is really, really helpful. And like the next 2 or 3 didn't do anything for you, and that's fine. But this is the level that you are in professional training. It's really incumbent upon you to learn about your body and what your body needs to continue on. So Patrick and I wanted to make sure that you knew to ask questions in the comment section, and we will go back and review those.
Right, we want to be here to help you. It's not just cutting you loose that you have to figure this out on your own. So send us the questions, let us know what works or what doesn't work, and we can help you on with that.
Yes, okay. Thank you for watching, and I wish it was in person, maybe soon, okay?
Maybe soon.
All right.